Welcome to the Leslie Hawkins podcast. Each week, my guest and I discuss one pivotal moment in their life, what they learned from it, and their words of wisdom. He built his life around the game of hockey, living the life of a true bachelor. Then everything changed. Marriage, a family, a new set of responsibilities. As a broadcaster, he traveled across North America chasing breaking stories, always ready to jump on a flight at a moment's notice, a bag always packed at the front door. Balancing life on the road with life at home, he discovered that true success isn't just built on career milestones. It's built on the support that keeps you grounded. Today, he's a renowned author, radio host, podcast host, but more than anything, a proud family man. Proof that the story behind the storyteller is just as powerful as the ones he covers. So welcome to another episode of the Leslie Hawkins podcast. I'm so glad that you are here. So please welcome my guest, Jim Lang.
Hello.
So Jim is a sports broadcaster, a journalist, a talk show host, or a radio host, let's call it that. He is a podcast host as well, but he is published 8 books.
Yes.
I was a little shocked, actually, that it was 8. I was like, that's a lot. So he has co-authored memoirs with the likes of Ty Domi and Wendell Clark, absolute legends in the Toronto Maple Leaf environment. He has also written Everyday Hockey Heroes with Bob McKenzie.
Correct. Yeah.
And your most recent book is My Day with the Cup.
Correct.
Where it tells great stories of NHL players who, what they do with the cup when they've actually won it and now it's in their hometown and what they do with it. So it's amazing books, and I'm sure there's more in the works.
Hopefully, yes, fingers crossed.
Hopefully, exactly. So Jim, I'm glad you're here.
It's a pleasure, Leslie.
You and I have known each other, I'm going to say like over 20 years.
Easily. Yeah.
And I remember looking for an MC for an event. It was a long drive
That's
event.
Right. In Ajax.
Yeah. Exactly. And I was like, I need somebody who can pump up the players, who can pump them up, who can get the participants happy, get the crowd into a fervor. I was like, I got this. Okay, Jim Lang's my guy. So that was many moons ago, though.
What was great about the event is they had the long drive, the real legit long drive champions, and they also had a regional qualifier that someone would go to Las Vegas to be part with the big boys.
Right.
And there was a kid from Durham region who maybe weighed 160 pounds, but he had a beautiful swing and he had such great club head speed, and he ended up winning it and going to Vegas. And he was like 19 or 20 and wiry and skinny, but his swing tempo was fantastic. Right. And I think he hit it over 380 to qualify. And I couldn't believe it.
That's obscene.
Yeah. And don't forget, on the long drive, there's a width. You have to have it within the parameters, the borders, or it's a DQ ball. It doesn't count. And a lot of them will hit it, the big ones, 380 to 400, but it'll be wide and it's a DQ ball.
Yes.
And this kid, 160 pounds, and good enough to qualify. So that was a cool experience. And it was interesting to see golf balls hit that way, because the sound is so different from regular golf and long drive. And a couple of the long drive competitors that were there, I ended up meeting after the fact. They would be at charity golf events on holes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. One of the competitors was from the Muskoka area, Halliburton, and he'll be on a hole and you get to take a shot on a par 4. And invariably it's like greenside, rough.
Exactly.
So you're either putting for eagle or just a short chip to set up birdie, because you can hit it so far. But it was a cool experience.
That's a great event. Yes. Yeah. That was awesome. So this podcast is based on one question, which is, what is one pivotal moment in your life? And the reason I chose that is, we all know through life, you've got all these highs and lows, these ups and downs, these pivots. And in that moment of pivot, there can be a sense of, depending on what it is, I'm the only person. And I also think that there's great stories in how people have pivoted through their life. And so this is that platform to share people's stories so that the listeners can learn from it, can appreciate that there is lots of stories and lots of ups and downs in life, and this is all just part of the journey. So my question to you, Jim, is what is one pivotal moment in your life?
Well, for me, Leslie, it's probably when I met my wife,
Yes.
my life partner. We met at a house party of a mutual friend in the fall of '98, and then we were married in April of 2000. And we've been there for when I've fallen down, when she's fallen down, raising kids and all that. And it changed my outlook on work and in life. And I was a bachelor for so long, and I met her in my early 30s, and I was raised in a Catholic family where you pray out loud, and they're Dutch Reform. And I didn't know this, but they pray quietly when they say grace before dinner. So the first time I was invited over with her family for dinner, I see her parents, they bow their head, so I better bow my head. So I didn't say anything because I'm waiting for someone to start. And I look up and they're all looking at me. And I guess afterwards her mom goes, "Well, he's really religious." Because I thought like, oh, yeah, I guess, okay. They do things a little bit differently in her family. But I'm not sure I would have accomplished anything in my life, in my career, through sports television, through writing books, whatever, without my wife. She won't take the credit. I give her all the credit. If I didn't have that support system, if I didn't have a family to come home to, I personally believe I just wouldn't have, I don't know where I'd be in my life. Like, I just don't know. I wouldn't have been able to experience the things I have or accomplish the things I have without her.
Amazing. So what was life like before you got married then?
I had a 1-bedroom apartment in the beaches with a fairly empty fridge. And I was playing hockey 2 or 3 times a week. And cause and always out with the boys and, travel. It was work. It was either work or, hockey and beer league. And I just figured, well, and I was actually ready. I was like, well, there was a story about, greyhounds, at the greyhound racetracks, the dog tracks in Florida. And there was an organization in Toronto who was offering to rescue them. I thought, that's great.
That's cool.
Like, I'm a bachelor. And I was about to start the vetting process. And then when I met my wife, who was then my girlfriend, she had a dog. And with my hours, I said, well, why don't I'll stop by and take your dog out and walk her so she can do her business because, you're not going to be home. So I ended up getting a dog through her when I met her. So I was just like, well, that's whatever it is. I guess I'm going to be a bachelor. And then we met, and then I'd say 6 months after him, like I definitely knew she was the one. She took a little more convincing, and as women are wont to do. And so we kind of knew pretty soon, and then we got married in April of 2000. We had our first kid in December 2001.
Perfect. Okay. And so life now is busy.
Yes.
You're doing a lot.
I like to be busy. I mean, it's busy in spurts, and I think my time management skills, I've had to work at it.
Okay.
So, today I'm doing this with you.
Yes.
And then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go do that. And I'm about to turn 60. And because of that, I've realized you can't waste time. I have friends that have had cancer struggles. I've lost loved ones through cancer and Parkinson's. And, you get to a certain age, you realize life is precious.
Yes.
And time is precious. And, both our girls are adults, and they're both going to be home for Thanksgiving weekend. And we are mapping out every second.
Yes.
Because they're going to be here and we're going to spend time with them. They're going to be gone. And so I've been more aware and really tried to work at it. And I've actually, I'll watch podcasts and listen to podcasts about time management. Adult men put a lot of stress on themselves, a lot of pressure on themselves. Ian Leggett, a mutual friend of ours, he does a great golf tournament called Stomp the Stigma because there's a horrible amount of men of the age of 40 in Canada committing suicide. And they're getting overwhelmed mentally and emotionally about life. And so I'm really trying to for this, I'm going to work out. This, I'm going to do this. And try not to get time and stuff get away from me. Like, I'm going to do the work here, then I'm going to stop, and then we're going to have dinner, and I'll say to my wife, well, oh, what do you want to watch?
Yes.
Because with my phone now and with streaming, I don't need to hear what they're saying. I know what they're doing. They're not telling me anything I don't know.
Yes.
So I'll watch games on my phone with the volume down while we're watching a show. And then when there's a break, I can look down and see what it. But so because I think that's a good way to maximize my time.
Yes.
And, there are times where I'm like, I'm sorry, sweetie, we're gonna have to watch this because it's like a final, it's the Super Bowl. But then she ends up watching because of the commercials and the halftime show. But yeah, it's. And, because of meeting her, I've really worked hard in my life at trying to okay, now it's her turn.
Yes.
No, whatever you need to do,
Right.
and making sure this is your turn. How can I help you? What do you need?
Yes.
You're dealing with your family, you're dealing with whatever. Let me help you. And that's, before I met her, something I just never thought of.
No.
It was just oh, I'm just doing my thing. I was oblivious, right?
Right.
And so, that's something I've really worked at. And being married and having a life partner, it changes your attitude towards that.
It totally does. So while your wife won't take the credit, what would be some of the reasons or some of the things that she does that now you absolutely recognize, as you said earlier, that you wouldn't necessarily be where you are today without her?
Well, I know for sure, we moved to Newmarket in 2004. And it was during the lockout of 04, 05. But because of that, there was a lot of times where I was being called. I was home. We had 2 toddlers.
Yes.
We were doing renovations in our house, and I would get a call it's 4:00. You need to be in a 7:00 plane to Atlanta.
Ouch.
And I remember one day she had a little bit of paint in the end of the nose. Kids are running around. I'm like, I love you. Got to go. Right. And with my bag and racing to the airport to cover something. And I was home 30 hours later. And you realize, for about 2 years there when the kids were really young, she was a single mother because I was away a lot. I got one flight statement one year and I had 32 flights in Air Canada and, not including other airlines. And, if she hadn't been able to handle everything and manage 2 kids basically on her own for a while, that, I don't know. I just, I don't think I definitely wouldn't have been able to do what I did and experience what I did and have covered what I did without her making that sacrifice.
Right. Absolutely. So what you were doing was covering hockey, right? So hockey has been ingrained in your life.
Yes.
Forever?
Well, yeah. I mean, I grew up in the Air Force. My dad was in the Air Force and we moved around a lot. And some of the bases we were at, we're so remote, we didn't get a lot of games, Leslie.
Okay.
So you would get 1 game a week if you were lucky. And that would be the game I watched. And depending where we lived, it may or may not be a Leafs game. And so, hockey, through my dad, I started playing in the mid-'70s. And then we went to California because my dad was stationed there. And there was the odd LA Kings game in KTLA with Chick Hearn. And no, he was the Lakers. I can't remember his name. So Chick Hearn was the Lakers, but it was KTLA. Okay. And I watched the odd LA Kings game. So there was about a year and a half there where there was no access. There was no, this is the late 70s. There is no satellite. There's no streaming. So there's no way to, and then I moved back and, then this would have been December 79, January of 1980. I got back into playing hockey and then hockey was on a lot. And especially through the emergence of Wayne Gretzky. So I was there right when he was that's when we came back.
Okay.
Wayne's a rookie. And all of a sudden here's this skinny kid from Brantford who's not just rewriting the record book, but he's reimagining how to play hockey and changing the calculus of the game, both on the ice and off the ice. And through the Oilers run, and in my first radio job, I remember I was doing overnights in Barrie and getting up to get ready to go to work because, and they had breaking news in TSN that Wayne Gretzky had been traded to the LA Kings. Oh. And it was, it stopped the presses in Canada. People can't imagine in 2025 That was the lead story on every news channel and every newspaper in Canada from coast to coast.
Yeah.
That Wayne Gretzky was going to the LA Kings.
How could you do that?
How could you do that? And this was just a year after the Canada Cup and everything. And everyone was blaming Janet Jones Gretzky.
Yes.
And she stole him from Canada. and so, by that time, especially in the mid-late 80s, I was so all in between watching and then, I was going through media school, radio school, and covering it into starting the first initial steps of my career. And over time, my first foray into sports media was the 1995 Maple Leafs training camp in September of 95. Pat Burns was still the coach, and Howard Berger and others, they had multiple duties, and I was producing the morning show with Pat Marsden and John Derringer.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And they would say, hey, I'd be there. Like, hey, Jim, we need someone to go down and cover Leafs practice at training camp. So I'll go. And
yes, please.
And it was very enlightening. And it was enlightening as a reporter, young reporter covering hockey, but also learning the etiquette of being a reporter. Because when at that time, newspapers were king. And the older, longtime columnist, still at that time, had covered the Leafs in the 60s. So there was a deference that they got to ask the first questions. And when they were done, you'd look and go, and then you'd ask a question.
Yes.
And out of respect. And just the volume of reporters. And there was a dozen print people, columnists and daily writers. There was radio reporters. There was TV, local and national, at Leafs training camp. It was... this was at the old Maple Leaf Gardens, and that really, really put the hooks in me.
Yes,
especially being around it, like at that level, and asking Pat Burns a question, and you're this far away in a scrum, and talking to Doug Gilmour and the players, you're like, yeah, that changed things.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that really changed things.
Yeah. Okay. So hockey fully ingrained. Now, is your wife a hockey fan?
She is. She puts up with it. She was a big Boris Salming fan when she was younger.
Yes.
Her dad, a Dutch immigrant to Canada, and when he came here, he wanted to fit in. So even though he had no knowledge of hockey, he realized that hockey was the sport here in Canada. So I'm going to watch hockey, and I'm going to watch the Leafs. And of course, he's there for their dynasty in the 60s. He just got married and was just starting a family in Scarborough as the Leafs were going on their big run under Punch Imlach. So, she, she jokes that she had no control of the TV as a kid because it was like the old TV had to walk over.
Oh, yes.
And it was the Leafs game. I think I try to be because I don't like to force sports down her throat 24/7.
Yes.
So I pick and choose. And that's why I like the apps on my phone, because I'll watch the games on my phone while we're watching other things.
Yes.
And then with the social media now, if Austin Matthews scores, it's there 10 seconds later. I can see the goal. I can see what happened.
Yes.
And then I'm sort of up to date and stuff.
Right.
If there's a big fight, if there's a big save, there's an injury, it's accessible.
Right.
It's accessible. And there are times I'll sit and watch the game, beginning to end, but it goes back to trying to, maximize my time.
Yes.
And I like my time with her after dinner where we're just doing something that she likes. And I know it's good for her mental health, and she's got a lot of stress in her life as well. And it's like our little time together. And then, we'll talk about stuff. And then always at the end of the day, before bed, like, oh, what are you doing? What are you like? I need to be here. And so we're trying if you can't be there, I'll do this. And what I mean?
Good combination.
Yeah. We just celebrated our 25th and
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
And when we were celebrating it, we were like, we realized there was a time there when the kids were young and I was on the road a lot. That was a tough time. We had to work through some struggles there because it was, I'd be gone 6 days, come home 2 days, gone 7 days. Gone, stuff like that would happen. I had one bag that was always packed, that was never unpacked. And so when we did have time off or time to ourselves, sometimes we would, I know one time we had basically rented a friend's tent trailer and drove and did tent and went along to the Maritimes.
Okay.
So we went up, we went like camping. We went upstate New York through Maine into Nova Scotia where I have family. And we did the loop back to, there's a beautiful provincial park in Quebec called Le Bec right near Rimouski.
Yes.
I
know it.
Rimouski.
Yes.
And so it was just 2 weeks in a tent trailer, and it was just time with her and the kids, and it was really enjoyable and stuff like that.
A reconnection.
Yeah. Because, I have friends that travel a lot too, and it's a double-edged sword because sometimes you have to travel for work.
Yes, you do.
But then, when you're at the Super Bowl and your daughter's 4 and or 5 and she's at home, like, Dad, you got to come home now. And it's 2 days in, you got 6 days to go.
Right.
That sucks.
Oh yeah.
That's not easy.
It's not great. No.
And you're like, sweetie, I got a few more days to go, but I'll come home.
Yeah.
That happens.
It does. It does. Traveling for work. I remember early in my career, it was exciting. It's like, oh, this is great. You're in a hotel. Then you have kids, and then it loses its luster pretty quickly where you're like, I am not where I want to be.
Yeah.
I'm loving this.
Yeah.
But it's also like travel for work in many cases is part of, as you get promoted, you travel more and more.
Yes.
You're more the face of the brand.
And they need you more.
And they need you more.
Yeah.
And it's great. I mean, it's really a testament to your work and your talent and everything else. But the downside is, it's really hard on the other person.
I have a message for any man out there with a wife and young kids, and your partner calls and said, how's it going? Never say, it's awesome. The hotel's great. Big mistake. Don't do that. Say the hotel's bad. It's loud. Yes. The bed's awful. I can't wait to get home. Do not go on and on about how nice the hotel is. That's a big mistake. Don't make it.
Yeah, no. That's experience talking right there.
I was like, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, maybe that's an inside voice thing. Right. Okay. So for those who are early in their marriage, early in their career, are there words of wisdom that you would have for them of as you build your life with somebody else, that maybe as you've celebrated your 25-year anniversary, are there things that you would say, here's my big learnings along the way that I would pass along?
It's a good question. I think one of the things is like, if I'm home, say I've been traveling, I've been home for a stretch, and like, why don't you, your girlfriends, here, go. You go. Because I know at one time they went, her and some of her girlfriends went to Niagara Falls for a couple of days. Go. I got the kids. It's all good. House won't burn down. You go.
Yes.
Go to Niagara Falls for a couple of days. Go, like, you have some time, and make sure your partner, and it goes both ways, has some time to themselves. So they're not always feeling like they're glued to the apartment or their house.
Yes.
Work, taking care of everything. So they have time to like not think about that. I think that's one thing.
Yes.
And, I like to think as I've gotten older, I've gotten better. Like, oh, you need that? Okay. Oh, you want to stop there? Oh, all right. I mean, at first, like, oh, why are we doing this? I'm like, then after a while, I'm like, I'm causing unnecessary stress. If she wants to do it, it's only an hour of my life.
Yes.
Who cares? Okay. Right. I do draw the line at Fabric Land. I don't go to Fabric Land because I don't understand it. And she can, and so that's why, like, oh, honey, you go to Fabric Land.
Yes.
But like, oh, you want to go here? Okay, let's go there.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, okay.
I'll go to the apple orchard, but I'm not going to Fabric Land.
Yeah, I'm not going to Fabric Land. Like you want to go to the, the garden center because she loves plants and all that. Let's go to the garden center. I'll walk around. But the Fabric Land, I draw the line.
So know your limits.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. How did you get into writing all of these books? And you'd mentioned earlier, like, hockey is, sort of being around for a big part of your life, but working with, the Domies and Wendell Clark and Bob McKenzie and some of the others, how did you get into that?
When I was at Sportsnet, speaking of, time management and doing different things, I was there a couple of years, and sportsnet.ca, the website was starting up, and they needed Canadian content because when they first started, they had no writers and they were all taking wire story. And management said, well, you need some have Leslie, have so. So they would ask different people, and some of the talent said, well, how much money is it? And they're like, well, we don't have any budget. Well, I'm not going to do it.
Yes.
And they asked me to write something simple. I'm like, oh, okay. That's a skill that's a skill I'd like to learn.
That, yeah.
They're all journalism grads and they're all writers by trade. So I can learn something from them. And so I started small and then would write a little bit more and then a little bit more. And over time, next thing you know, 1 year after it led to another, I started writing longer form pieces and working with them. And they'd say, do this, don't do that. And they were they were coaching me. And I really, really enjoyed it. And so about 10 years later, Ian Mendez, a dear friend and one of the great broadcasters and journalists this country's produced, he's with the Sens now. He had done something with his agent and said his agent is looking for new talent. Why don't you talk to him? And my agent to this day, Brian Wood. And I guess the possibility came up of doing a book with Ty Domi. And I was at the Road Hockey to Conquer Cancer. And I had just lost my job at the Fan Morning Show because they didn't renew my contract. And then we were there in the tent. And I was saying, we had reached out to him. I had reached out to him through someone else and he'd said no. And I said, Ty, I'm glad you, blah, blah, blah. And then we started talking. He goes, you know what? We'll all meet with the guys. Why don't we meet?
Yeah.
And so about a month later, we met at the Simon & Schuster Canada offices on King Street in downtown Toronto. And he said, yeah, I'll do a book with you. Well, let's do a book. And and they were like, he left and they were like, I don't believe it. And now I had never written a book before. I've written an ebook and I've written long form pieces, but probably 25,000 words is the longest I've written. A hockey book's generally about 80 to 85,000 words. So it's a different animal.
Right.
And I can remember one day into it, I'm at my laptop like this and my wife comes in. It's on weekend mornings. She goes, you all right? He goes, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
And, but it's like, one step after another. So I kept working at it, kept doing it and got it done. Book came out, went to number one. And so from that, I was able to, then Wendell Clark was interested and then I came on board with his book and then it just sort of snowballed and I started doing other books from there. And Brian Berard, Max Domi, I did a couple books with Bob McKenzie, which was an incredible experience, great learning experience personally and professionally. And I learned a lot about managing business and work and time. And Bob is really cool. I have to take my phone out to demonstrate this, but he would have like two phones. He'd have his personal phone with his family and his work phone. And he like, oh, I can deal with that later, but this is something I want to, And because, and then, because his work phone is basically every executive and GM in the NHL and agent and
direct access to everybody.
But he was like, no, this is, and so I was like, that's interesting.
That is good.
And the reason Bob McKenzie is Bob McKenzie is because he worked so hard at it. He wasn't Bob McKenzie by chance. And I did learn about different things from him as well. And so eventually, because I had done a number of books, then they had approached me about the concept of doing a book about players and coaches when they have their day with the Stanley Cup. And I was intrigued and I said, let me do some research. And I had realized at that point, no one had written a book about that.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of weird because it had been around 30 years. And I'm like, oh. And so once we got into it, it was a great experience. And the hard part was tracking people down.
Yes.
But once you got a hold of them and say John Cooper of the Lightning, and he was like, what do you want to talk about? And he was like, because he missed the first time they won the cup.
Yes. Because
of the pandemic and COVID, he couldn't take the cup back when they won. And he said, I waited my whole life and I couldn't do it.
Right.
So they won the second time and he's got a summer home in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and basically had a day and a half, almost 2 days there. And he just couldn't stop talking about it because it meant so much to him.
So good.
Yeah. And he's such a generally nice man and smart guy. And And, every one of them had a life altering story about their
Yes.
day with the cup. And a lot of them said the only time they saw their dad or their grandfather cry is when they took the cup out of the case and put it up on the kitchen counter or the living room on the coffee table, and it's there.
Right.
And then their dad is seeing Bobby Orr and Guy Lafleur and the names, and it's like Brian Trottier. It kind of freaks them out a bit.
Absolutely.
And so that was it was players and coaches on a human level, and that's what I enjoyed about it.
Yes, exactly. Really human stories.
Because I know what happened. They scored 10 goals. You beat them 4 games to 2. But then what?
Right.
And so I tried to ask them the then what, and then they talked about it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And the reception to the book has been really good.
I've been lucky, Leslie. It's been good. It was well received. So I'm very happy and, humbled by that. It was a real labor of love, but I'm glad to see that people enjoyed it.
Yes.
And enjoy the stories, because it is a story. That day when, whether you're in Worcester, Mass, or Stockholm, or you're in Finland, or you're in Saskatoon, or you're in Minnesota, when that cup arrives, it has the same impact.
Yes.
And it means the same to everyone. And, people get emotional and all that. And the last player I spoke to was Nick Hague, the big defenseman, and who was with Vegas when the Golden Knights won. And I spent half the day with him and his family in Kitchener. And they had a big signing outside the Lennox Lewis Sports Complex in Kitchener.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the cup is there. They have the Hockey Hall of Fame has a tent. They have some other trophies. The cup's on a table with a special backdrop. And Phil Pritchard, the keeper's there with Walt and some other staff from the Hall of Fame. And the lineup, it went on forever. And he only had so much time to sign, because when you have your day with the cup, your time is basically, you're going to do this for an hour and a half. Then you have to do this. And Nick is such a nice young man. He's like, I can't stop. But he basically, as he's walking to the party bus to get back to his house, he was just signing autographs and signing jerseys all the way along as much as he could. But the lineup, I couldn't believe how long the lineup was. And that's the impact of the Stanley Cup.
That is. And that's why every Canadian cares so much about hockey, and why our house is covered in Leafs things. Yes, there's a blanket and the pillow and the chair and the banner and you name it. And hockey is so ingrained in the Canadian heritage and the Canadian culture, and you tell these stories so well. And I think it's the human element of the stories that I just love, because it's less about the 6'4" guy on the ice scoring the goal, being amazing. It's that 6'4" guy in his room, in his house, just a normal human being in awe of this trophy in front of him.
Yeah. And, the stories of players who took the cup to their dad or their grandfather's gravesite, or all stuff like that. It's special. And it's the only sport that does that. The Vince Lombardi trophy, the Larry O'Brien trophy, when you win the World Series, you don't get it for a day to take to your hometown. It's so unique. And the fact that names are engraved on it, and your family members, your friends can run their finger, and Mike Vernon told me this, you can take a piece of paper and a pencil and rub it along, and it'll bring the name out.
Yes.
And starting in 2023, what the Hall of Fame does and the NHL does now, they engrave the names before they go on the tour.
Okay.
So now when they come to the Hawkins house, your name would be on the trophy.
Wow.
So that's something that they got some feedback that, a lot of players only win at one time. Might play 20 years. Look at Ray Bork. And before, the trophy would come, but their name wasn't on it. It would be engraved after the fact. Well, then they changed that. So they do the engraving at the Silversmith with the Hockey Hall of Fame. After the cup, they have the list of names. They put the names on. Then they go on the tour, and the names are there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And Sam Bennett from Florida.
Yes.
He's from Holland Landing, which is about 10 minutes from where we're sitting right now. He's had it twice there. And, it's really cool to think that basically, it's in just a normal bedroom community in Ontario, like anything else. And here's a kid who played minor hockey in the area,
Yeah.
and then the Stanley Cup is in his place.
Amazing.
It's kind of cool that way. Yeah.
Because every kid dreams of that.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? The players, they basically almost take a back seat because that day is less for them. It's for their, I know Bill Guerin said it was for my wife who dragged the kids around and moved schools as I got traded. It was for her. It's for my kids. It's for my grandparents. It's for my aunt who would bake me cookies before road trips. My aunt, and they really try to let the people that they love, the people in their lives, have as much time with it as possible.
Yes.
And I thought that was quite interesting. It's their love letter to the people that, it takes a village that help them along the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, because without that village, they're not being as successful as they are.
No, and they're very open and honest about that. And the keepers of the cup will tell you, hey, it's 15 minutes to midnight. We got to go.
Right.
In like 10 minutes. And the player's like, yeah. Like, it's 5 minutes. Better take your last photos on that because at that time, they put the gloves on and they pack it up in the road case because they have to go to another city.
Yes.
And even Sidney Crosby was pleading with it. Do you have to go? I said, yes, I got to go.
Right.
And then
Amazing.
they said it's very sad when the SUV or the minivan, whatever vehicle the keeper has when they're driving away, because you never know if they're going to see it again. And it's a mixed feeling. You're elated, you're exhausted. It's been just a wild day nonstop from 7 a.m. to midnight, but then the cup's leaving.
Yes.
And Sid flat out said, the reason he trains so hard and works so hard and prepares so hard because he wants another day with the cup.
So good.
And that's some of them had it when they were 19 or 20, and some of them didn't have it towards the end of their career. And there are some of the great players in the history of the game. If the cup was in the room, they wouldn't go near it because they're not allowed because their name's not on there.
Right.
And that's one of the cool things about the cup.
Such mystique.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's really good. So to be an incredible hockey player, you need to have the village. And in your particular case, your village has been your wife and surrounding family.
Yeah.
To help you be as successful as you are.
Yeah.
So what would be your parting words or the things you've learned about yourself that you would share with our audience?
Oh, no one does anything alone. You need help. You need support. You just can't. You think you can, especially guys always think they can. They can't. Mm-hmm. Men are bad that way, but you can't do it alone. You need this, like the line from The Godfather, you got to spend time with your family. No matter how busy you are, you got to find time and spend some time with, your kids. And especially our kids are young women in their 20s. Mm-hmm. So we really, when they're home, when they're with us, you're going to do your thing, fine. But when we're together, we're together. Yes. It better be a really good reason if you're going to,
Yes.
But other than that, no, so I'm at a point in my life where I really don't want things. I don't care about things. I really don't. I like experiences. Mm-hmm. I like, let's do something together. Let's go somewhere. And that's because I find that's a lot of fun. And especially when the kids were teenagers and they're in that awkward teenage year and the young woman, our oldest daughter was a swimmer and our youngest was in gymnastics. But when you're in the car driving them, that's when we'd have our best talks, or we're driving somewhere because, they're in the room, they're busy, they're FaceTiming friends, they're doing homework. But when they're in the car, we're all together.
Yes.
And so I never minded driving them because at least I get to talk to them. Mm-hmm. And, we're very proud of our daughters. They're very unique in their own way, but they're really special young women. And so I feel very blessed. I'm still married after 25 years. We have 2 great daughters. And, I guess especially I've gotten older and we've been married longer, it takes less to make me happy, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
I oh yeah, no, yeah, that's good. Yeah. I don't need a lot to be happy with stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm very appreciative of everything that's come along my way in my life. And I don't mind, I like working. Yes. So I don't mind working. And especially people say I'm busy, but it's not work. I have friends who are contractors and do like that's working. I have a cousin who's a fire captain in Halifax. Running into a burning building is working. My sister was a nurse 30 years. Being a nurse is, I don't know how they do it. So I'm like, I don't do that. So of course I have time to talk to you or write a book and stuff like that. Well, it's just,
Yes.
And so that's kind of, I guess my parting thing is, when you're with the people you love, spend the time with them.
Yes.
Because, there's going to be time where they're doing their thing and then you can, look at your phone or check your fantasy football or whatever it is. And it's tough because there's so much distractions in life and so much pulling at our sleeves, attention wise. It's trying to separate that and filter all that out to what's important. And, that's, I guess that's it. It's just, if it's not important, then I really don't want to spend too much time thinking about it or stressing about it. If it doesn't affect me or my family, then I'm not going to worry about it too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Once it does, then I'll put my attention on it.
Right. But in the meantime, focus on the memories, creating memories with the family,
right,
and be present.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's in it. Life right now, it's tough to be present.
It is very hard.
Fair or not, these smartphones and social media and the algorithms are doing everything to make you unpresent. Everyone looks at their Instagram and all of a sudden the algorithm, you go down the rabbit hole. And I have buddies of mine, I still play hockey every week, and we send each other stupid videos of golf and hockey. Because when we're not, playing hockey, we golf. And it's guys driving their cart in a pond or, gators in the course or silly stuff in hockey. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, I just lost 10 minutes because I'm looking at these stupid videos.
Right.
And you won't even know it.
You don't even know it.
And you're like, hey, that's enough. That's enough stupid videos for my buddies. Now I got to do something else.
Exactly. Get back in focus.
Important. So one of the things that, my wife and I like to do, and I think it's nice about this area where we live as couples, we like to walk together, go for a walk. We really enjoy that. Just walking and checking stuff out. And, that's for sale. Oh, look at what they, we appreciate, I appreciate more now. Oh, look what they did when they did that rental. That's really nice. And because when you're walking together, you're not on your laptop and you're not distracted. You're just like, you're experiencing the world and nature and stuff like that. So I like walking. I walk the dog. I walk with my wife. But I find for me, that's where I do my best thinking. Like we'll discuss things while we're walking, talk about this, and then we get home, we'll figure stuff out. So
that's exactly. My husband and I go for walks in the forest with the dogs.
Yeah.
Dogs are the excuse. But it's like the best ideas come when you're just walking. Yeah. And I pull out my phone, do a little voice note. Don't forget, blah, blah, blah. Or here's an idea.
Yeah.
Or what about this? It's amazing what nature will do.
Yeah. And I hate to admit it, but I have to put everything in my calendar on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
Because I forget stuff. And I have I still have like a big desk calendar. I write stuff. So I'm like, okay, I got to do this. And then like, did I remember to do that? And yes, I'm getting older, but I think it's because there's so much going on. It's easy to miss things. It's easy to forget appointments and calls and stuff. So that we find when we're walking, we're like, oh, we gotta, and then we'll put reminders and do this. And the one thing that we have done is with both kids being in different cities now, that we do a weekly FaceTime with the girls.
Very good.
Because we like to see them. They tell us we're fine, but we can tell when we see them if they're fine or not.
Right.
Do they look tired? Are they eating right? Are they look stressed? And so we, our oldest has a cat, our youngest has a miniature dachshund. So then we see their pets and we see them. And we like that weekly FaceTime because we know they're busy and they've got their lives and, everything going with it. So we don't want to, be intrusive, but we like to set aside a weekly time to like,
that's good.
Oh, what's going on in your week? What'd you do? What's coming up this week? Oh, that's cool. Yes. And that's one thing we've gotten to a habit that I'm glad we have.
Mm-hmm. It's a very good habit. I think it's very healthy. And it's
good. Yeah. That's where technology helps.
It's exactly. There is good sides to it.
Because before you would just be on the phone and like, oh, Susie says she's fine. But you don't know.
You don't know.
When you see them, you're like,
Yeah.
We'd stop at FaceTime like, I don't know. Like, I mean, like she didn't, you know.
Yeah.
And then you kind of see things because you know as a parent whether they're just saying it or they really mean it.
Yes. Yeah. And then nonverbal will tell you everything you
Right.
want to know.
The body language and everything.
Yes.
So that's why we're big on that. So if you have an adult, you know,
Yes.
teen, late teen, adult child, they're in school, they've moved away, they're living in another city, that weekly FaceTime to me
Yes.
is invaluable.
It's precious. Yes.
Yeah, it's really
Agreed.
important. And we learn a lot that way.
Mhm.
And then we're like, oh, okay, they're doing okay. They got their week figured out. And then it relaxes us.
Yes.
Because then we'll otherwise be like, oh, geez, do you think we should go?
Wonder- Yeah.
Should we drive down there? You know, like,
Right.
and then we don't want to be, you know, helicopter parents.
No.
Like, we're here. Is everything okay? No, you know,
That's good. I'm fine.
we want to keep a distance and, you know, let them be themselves and live their lives. But we always let them know, if you ever need us, we're here.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're here to support you. You know, like just call us, FaceTime. But what do you need?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to help you out any way we can, as much as we can. But we don't want them, you know, because unfortunately, part of being an adult is learning how to figure things out on your own.
Yep.
And, you know, we, especially in our vintage, that's something we grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd figure out how to get home alone, how to do, you know, you just
Yes.
figured it out. And so we made sure the kids either had a job in high school or did things where we weren't always around and they had to interact with other adults
Yes.
and learn to figure things out. And they would tell us like, this went well, this didn't go well.
Right.
And then we'd say, well, what should you do in the next situation like that? Because we realized as much as we'd like to, we're not going to be around them all the time.
Yes.
And they're not going to want us around them all the time.
Exactly.
So as parents, we're like, we better teach them some lessons so they can,
Mhm.
like, how do they handle these things?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And something like, okay, this happened. So what do you do?
So now what?
Now what? And, you know, because I hate hearing stories that a young person who graduated college, university is in a workplace. And, you know, I have friends that have businesses
Mhm.
and like, we just got this young person, they graduate and they don't know how to do this and they
Yeah.
don't know how to do that. And we're like, how did they, you know, that's part, I think, of the education is more than just what you learn. It's also
Mhm.
the life skills, the
Yes.
home ec, how to make a basic meal and
Absolutely.
how to use a screwdriver to fix something basic. You're not
Yeah.
asking to build a shack or
No.
cook a Michelin guide meal, but you should be able to, like, if there's something, I can just tweak it and fix it for the time being on my own, or make something semi-healthy on my own.
Yes.
And that's a skill I think every young person needs to have. First of
Agreed.
all, you can't afford to do
No.
DoorDash or, you know, all those kind of food services or eat all the time. And it's not good for you.
It's not. It's really not. Yeah. I call it adulting. And we tease
Yeah.
our kids all the time. So how is adulting today?
Right.
Right?
You have to.
They roll their eyes, of course, but
But they're going to appreciate it in a few
Yes.
years because unfortunately, like, you and your partner, you're away or you're busy and they're there. Well, mom and dad's not here and I got to figure something on my own.
yes, exactly.
So
Yeah.
what do I do?
Right.
You know,
Coping
and-
skills.
I mean,
Yeah.
even to this day, the YouTube how-to things, like
Yeah.
stuff around the house, like, oh, and my
great.
wife is incredibly handy and capable. Even to this day, she'll go, oh, okay. Cause she likes to read, like, upcycle, she calls it.
Yes.
Junker necking. She'll find stuff on the roads. And I go, what is this? I go, oh, I'm going to upscale it, upcycle it. Okay. And then she goes to Fabricland and gets the fabric and recovers something. But when in doubt, like, that's like, oh, and that's like, well, yeah, that's what we do. Why don't you
Yes.
go to, what did the YouTube,
You do.
how
yes,
to?
exactly.
Because you can go, you know, how
Yes.
to make this or how to
Right.
fix that.
Right. We used to have to get Reader's
Yes.
Digest books to do that. Now it's much easier.
Yeah. Or
Just YouTube it.
What was the flour brand cookbook? Was it Maple Leaf Flour? Or there was
Okay.
there was some Canadian flour company had a cookbook for
Yeah.
years.
Just
That
give us
every
the easiest.
mom had one in there. And it was all in like imperial, not metric, because it was made in the 60s and 70s.
Exactly.
And there was
That's
handwritten
awesome.
notes from your mom in it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, and
That's
that's
amazing.
part of it. Like, hey, when we're together and they have questions, well, let's do this together.
Yes.
And because I know works both ways, because there's a lot of stuff that happens with technology and social media I don't understand. I'll ask them.
Yes. Agreed.
I go, oh, wait, what about
It's a
this?
two-way street.
And I go, no, Dad, don't do that. Do this.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Because a function of my job is I have to do stuff with social media, but I don't always know.
Mhm.
And I'll just like, hey, what should I do here?
Exactly.
And so, and then I think they appreciate that we ask them those questions. And like, I don't really know what to do here. What? And like, oh, Dad, don't, blah, blah, blah. And like, oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes. Well, and it's their world, right?
It is their
grown
world.
up in that
Yeah.
world.
Oh, yeah.
And we haven't.
No.
It's more of a learned behavior. And so if there's issues with my phone, I just hand it to my kids. I'm like, just fix it. And then if I do post something on social media, if it's not perfect, my daughter will call me, Mom.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You need to do this. You need to fix it. That doesn't look right. But I'm like, okay.
When you have daughters,
Yes.
don't post, as a dad, don't post a photo of you and your daughter without permission.
Right.
I still hear about one I did about 9 years ago. I still hear about it. 9 years ago.
Yeah.
So anytime we're at a family thing, I'll hold the phone up and go, is this one okay?
Yes.
Yeah, Dad, you can post that.
That one's good.
And then I don't hear about it. Yeah. It's like, as a parent, I wouldn't, it's a photo of one of my kids. And like,
great.
Dad, I look like a potato. How would you post that?
How could you do that?
And like, I don't know. And then I read somewhere that Gwyneth Paltrow got in trouble with Apple because she did the same thing. I'm like, she's just like us.
Yeah. We're all in the same boat.
We're all the same. Like when you hear Hollywood celebrities, like so-and-so got in trouble because they posted a photo with their daughter without permission. I'm like, it wasn't just me.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So good. That's awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time today. I love the story. Kudos to you and your wife.
Thank you.
25-year anniversary is amazing. And for all the success you have in your writing and your broadcasting and everything, I will continue to sit by and watch. I've subscribed to your podcast.
Thank you. As of high with yours.
Okay, great. So, I'm looking forward to more stories there.
Well, now, Leslie, I would be remiss if I didn't say that along the way, I've been lucky enough to meet some very impressive people, and you would rank right up there from your times at Acushnet. And then through other companies and other endeavors, you've always stood out among others. So please, the pleasure was all mine.
Oh, it's so good. So good. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Like and subscribe right there. Leslie Hawkins.
Go. You got to listen to the boss. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this story resonated and gave you something to reflect on. If it did, please share it with someone you care about. And be sure to subscribe so you can continue to hear more pivotal stories involving one question, one turning point, one powerful story. Join me next week with another guest on the Leslie Hawkins podcast.